Hello, readers and story makers. Welcome to the last session, or rather the last two sessions of term 2. So the lessons here are for sessions 9 and 10, weeks 9 and 10. And after that, of course, we've got 2 weeks of holiday. So what that means is that I'm meeting you today and I'm going to meet you next Monday, which will be the last week of term 2. And then you'll get a 2-week break. All right, moving on. You've got the usual stuff here about Zoom and USpace and how to start your blog, etc. Now let's have a look at what our theme for these 2 weeks is. So I'll read from here. Our funny word theme, which we started in weeks 7 and 8, continues in a new context. For these 2 weeks, we'll be looking at many different kinds of funny poems that make us chuckle and laugh. Okay, so we are taking it and moving into poetry. Now, we might be looking at poetry in a greater detail later on in the year. This is just focusing on a few funny poems. So, look at this quote. I wanted you to understand the multiple perspective thing, that humor is a personal choice, which you guys will understand that what I find funny, you may not. So if you find the poems that I've put here or the poems that I'm talking about being funny, that they're not so funny to you, or things that you find really funny, I don't find that funny, you need to know that that's A-okay. It's just a personal choice, just like what you eat and what you wear, etc. So, and it does vary with one's age and with one's personality. The challenge of a really funny poem is, however, to make as many people laugh as possible. So the broader the audience, the better. Okay? I love that little graphic, so I've put it in there. Now, introducing you to the Laugh-O-Meter. The Laugh-O-Meter I found online, and I found that it wasn't very appropriate, a couple of words. So I have, as you can see, I've edited the 2 top ends of the Laugh-O-Meter because the acronyms that were there were inappropriate. It was rudeness, and we don't do rudeness. So, hey, ha ha, laugh out loud, laugh out louder, can't stop laughing. Okay, so we are going to look at the poems we read, and we're going to place them somewhere on the Laugh-O-Meter. And again, it's a personal response to the poem. Language of the discipline, why do we laugh? So here's a little video that explains why we laugh and how it's a good thing for us to do. So enjoy that and think about it. No blog post needed. Everyone's activity 2. This is a read, enjoy activity. No blog post needed for this one either. So Ken Nesbitt. Now, Ken Nesbitt has a website that you can go to where he publishes his poems. He's actually a poet laureate. He's an American poet. He is now, I believe, 65 years of age, but he's been writing and publishing poems for children for a long, long, long time. And I have, in my teaching career, used Ken Nesbitt's poems a lot. Kids love them. Okay, you might be familiar. So he celebrates the joy of creating a nonsense word or a nonce word that we learned about in the last 2 lessons in week 7 and 8. Okay, so tell us in class what the words might be. So today when we meet in class, we are going to talk about, some of the funny words. And I'll tell you, I am actually the queen of nonce words, but I only come up with nonce words in a particular context, and I'll tell you that. Okay, so here is Floofy, to read Floofy. And that's it for everyone activities. Readers, your activities, this is a blog post. Okay, and we are dealing with idioms. Okay, idiom, what is an idiom? It's a metaphorical way of meaning someone is laughing very hard. So it's one way of saying when actually means something else. So here's an idiom for you to copy and complete. Scream my, what do we usually say? Okay, then so first you're going to listen to the poem. Second, you're going to complete this idiom. 3, pick 3 words from the poem that you think were used to create a good impact to the story in the poem. And then you give this poem a score on the Laugh-O-Meter. And here is the poem, I laughed my socks off. Awesome. Next activity, activity 2, readers. Read and think activity, no blog post needed. What do you think about Roald Dahl is trying to say in this poem? Is the message serious? Is the message funny? Has he used any funny words or ideas or scenes to get his message across to you? Why do you think he has used this particular way of sending his message across to his readers? Again, this is just an excerpt. The poem is really long. It's a part of the poem. Television by Roald Dahl. So you're going to read it. You're going to think about these questions. And we're going to talk about it in week 10. Activity 3 for readers, it's language of the discipline, looking at limericks. Now, limericks have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Okay, and limericks are really funny poem. They originated in England way back in the 18th century. So so have a look at this video that introduces you to limericks and talks about one of the most famous British poets who's written limericks. And at the moment, would you believe it, Edward Lear. Edward Lear is the poet, limerick writer. I was about to forget his name. So yeah, okay, cool. Activity 4, read the 5 poems below. There are 5 poems for you to read, and you can read them as many times as you want. Create a blog post to do the following. First, you have to rank them in the laugh-o-meter. You have to justify your decision, not just say, oh, this one is laugh out loud, this one's laugh out louder. Why? Okay, why do you think so? 1 sentence about why. Choose 1 poem and create a poster with funny images to go with it. Upload the photo of your poster. You can do the poster digitally or you can do it on paper. Pick another poem and write the funniest word, line, stanza in it and say why you find it so funny. 3 activities to do, right? Here are your 5 poems. Poem 1, poem 2, poem 3, poem 4, and poem 5. And poem 5 is by Ken Nesbitt. Okay. Story makers, we come to you, language of the discipline. Create a blog post to do the following activity. This is a topic wheel. I've given you the topic wheel. You can copy this structure if you want to. You can print this out if you want to. PDFs of blank topic wheels are available online to download and print. Very, very easily available. But you can draw the wheel, you can print out the wheel, or you can just make a list. Don't use the wheel because the activity is more important than how you do it. Okay, what do you have to do? No less than 5 and no more than 10 synonyms. Synonyms are words that mean the same. Simply put, other words for the word fun. Okay. All right. Or if fun is too hard, then you can do funny. I give you that freedom to choose funny instead. All right. Activity 2, writers. This is a watch, think, learn activity. No blog post needed. Watch this video about what makes a poem a poem. Okay. What are some of the characteristics of a poem? Activity 3, create a blog post to write down a list of the common characteristics of a poem from this video. So first you learn from this video, then you make a blog post, you write down a list of the characteristics of a poem. What did you learn? What will stick with you? Can you add any ideas? Did this video miss out on any ideas? When you read, you think, or when you're listening, you're thinking, but this also makes a poem, that also makes a poem, and it doesn't talk about it. Add them as your own ideas. You can put in bracket my own ideas. Okay? Activity 4, looking at patterns, create a blog post to write a funny poem of your own. Now, I've repeated the video that I have put for the readers. I've relinked it here so you don't have to scroll up and find it in the reader section. Okay? So what you have to do is you have to write a funny poem of your own. It can be a limerick if you choose a limerick, but if you don't want to, doesn't have to. It doesn't have to rhyme. It can be free form, free verse. Now, see the highlight here? We will be reading each other's poems out in week 10 when we meet again. What you're not going to do is come with a whole list of excuses about how busy you were and why you couldn't write your poem. Okay? Let's get out of that mindset. Remember, no matter how busy you are, what you want to do, you do find time for. Okay? We prioritize. And if you feel writing this poem and sharing it with the class in week 10 is a priority, trust me, you will get it done. Because in life, there will always be reasons why things cannot be done. There will always be something. Okay, I could find but perfectly good excuses for why I couldn't do this video with you for you guys today. But I made it a priority and I'm doing it. I couldn't do it yesterday, I'm doing it today. So get into that positive mindset that, hey, I am a writer. I call myself a writer. I'm going to write this poem. I'm going to make sure it's a poem worth writing though, not just some words hurriedly scribbled together. Put it on there. And in week 10, we're going to read each other's poems and we're going to have a lot of fun. I am going to write one as well. Okay, I promise. And a funny poem too. Fantastic. And that's all for today, readers and story makers. I am going to see you in class.